Welcome to No Facts Needed, and today we're going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins. First off, we have them ranked as the 26th team in the NFL.
Yes.
What's your record prediction for this team?
4-12.
I had them at 5-11. So Vegas has them at a solid 6 wins. Last year they went 5-11. So overall they're going to be staying about the same as last year. Let's talk about their schedule and what they're going to do this year. So I would say it's pretty rough. They play the NFC West and the AFC West. So if you know them, they have the Hawks, Niners, Rams, Cards, Broncos, Chiefs, and they also play the Pats and Bills twice. I think it's a pretty hard schedule right there.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about their offseason?
Yeah, their offseason was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, all things considered, they finally got some good players on their team.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's start with the draft. All right.
Okay.
First, they got Tua, their hopeful franchise QB.
Yeah.
Talk about him later.
They actually did it. The tank for Tua actually happened.
I know. And then they got some offensive tackles. They helped the line. That was nice. Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt. Do you want to talk about these other two guys they got?
Noah Benogany and Rayquan Davis.
Yeah, some defensive guys. All right, let's talk about who they got during the free agency period. So they got a lot of defense right here. They got Byron Jones, Kyle Van Noy, Jordan Howard, Matt Burrito, Emmanuel Ogbah, Shaq Lawson, and Eric Flowers.
Yes.
They threw a lot of money out.
Yeah, you got to pay someone.
Yeah. I will say they didn't lose too much. They lost Rashad Jones, Aqib Talib, and Jamarcus Webb. All those guys are kind of older guys that have fallen off over the past couple years.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on this.
On those ads?
On the whole entire offseason.
I think it's not bad, you know?
I thought it was pretty good.
I feel like at the beginning of last year, they were like one of the worst teams ever.
Yeah.
So, you know, they at least look competitive.
Yeah.
No, I think they're getting a little too much hype. I still don't think they're going to be a playoff contender, but, you know, could be worse if you're the Dolphins, you know?
I'm happy they got a lot of defense through this offseason because Brian Flores, their head coach, who we'll talk about, is a defensive guy, and he's kind of creating the team he wants to see.
Yeah.
So let's talk about their head coach, Brian Flores.
Actually, pretty good so far.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown some progress. He everybody knows him as the Pats guy. He was with them for 15 years and did everything from offense, defense, and special teams. So let's talk about their offensive and defensive coordinator. They got Chan Galey, who's in his 21st year and honestly looks like he's about to die. Look up a picture. It's kind of funny. He literally looks like a guy in the movies where they put prosthetics on and he's like a zombie walking around. Kind of sad. Coordinators for a handful of other teams, nothing really that special. And then Josh Boyer, 15th season as a coach. Defense did improve last year, which was his first year, but I think that was more of a Flores thing. So let's talk about the people on the field. Starting with QB.
Tua?
No. Fitzmagic. Their number one QB, the best one there. I guess we can talk about Tua, their hopeful franchise guy. Number 5th pick in the draft. You talk about him.
I think they need to be careful with Tua. I don't know if they're going to play him off the bat, but Tua had great protection in Alabama. And he also had great receivers. Now, his receivers aren't bad, but his O-line is probably a little bit of a step down, honestly. Even though he's going from college to pro. And he has not played a full season yet, so that's a concern. They need to kind of baby him along, I think.
Well, I put that he doesn't really have a lot of questions besides his injury, so I'm on the same page as you. And, honestly, he'll probably be a bust. Just because he throws left-handed, like, that's just weird. Grow up, throw right-handed. We could talk about Josh Rosen. He's definitely a bust. But I will say it's not his fault. He was just picked too high. And, like, I just kind of feel bad for him because the expectations for him were way higher than what he was actually able to produce. We can talk about running backs.
Yeah.
I honestly really love this duo of Jordan Howard and Matt Burrito.
Me too.
Howard, I think he's definitely underrated. He is more of he can be a good bell cow guy. I mean, he's not going to, like, be a top 10 running back, but low-end number 1 bell cow. And then Matt Breida is a quick
Zoomer.
guy. Yeah. Nice change of pace.
Yeah, they were, like, horrible at running the ball. They had, like, Patrick Laird or whatever his name is last year after they traded Kenyon Drake. So
they had Kalen Ballage.
Yeah. Their leading... I mean, Fitz is their leading rusher last year.
And I think he'll still be their leading rusher. Let's move on to wide receivers.
Yeah.
You talk about them a little bit.
I like Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a low-tier number one, as long as last year wasn't a complete fluke.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have Preston Williams, who actually did some good stuff last year. If anybody was watching, he was pretty interesting. And then other than that, they've got some solid pieces. Alan Hearns and Albert Wilson and,
Hakeem Grant.
Yeah.
I think past Devontae Parker and kind of Preston Williams, they're mostly rotational players, but they're good at being rotational players, Let's talk about their tight ends. Or tight end, one guy, Mike Gesicki. I think he's getting close to the point of no return. It's either he's going to have to do good right here or he might be a bust. I will say he hasn't really had a good quarterback, and it's hard for, I guess it's kind of hard for a tight end in that position. But he did show some flashes. So as long as he kind of improves with Tua or Fitzmagic, I think he can turn his career back around.
Yeah, I feel like at worst case, he's probably just like a low-level starter.
We can move on to O-line. Their O-line, they have Austin Jackson and Robert Hunt. They're
the two rookies.
Yeah, are the only really hope for this team or for this O-line group. They have Eric Flowers, who's probably the biggest joke in the league that he even has a job right now. He moved to guard. He did a little bit better, but not really that good.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to play him at tackle or guard, but we'll see.
I think it'll be a guard.
Well, Robert Hunt was a guard in college, so I don't know. Whatever they do there, I guess. There's that. They also have Michael Dieter, the other guard, who was pretty solid for them. So they have Ted Karras. He could play center for them if he needs to.
Mm-hmm.
They also got Solomon Kennedy from Georgia. Maybe a name to look out for. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
The O-line is not the worst in the league anymore, but it's still not very good.
I think it's pretty far down on the list. I think everybody on this O-line is kind of a question mark with who's going to play and if they're going to be good if they play, but at least they're doing stuff to fix it. I think it's time to move on to defense. Actually, pretty good defense.
All things considered.
On paper.
Well, other than the edge rush, yes.
Let's talk about their D-line. How about you talk about them?
D-line is pretty solid. They got Godchow, Wilkins, not bad in the middle at all.
Yeah.
And then they've got Lawson and Ogba, who are probably going to play the two ends. Now they run the multiple scheme, the Patriots Belichick defense.
Yeah.
So they're going to be moving these linebackers in and around a lot, like Kyle Van Noy, obviously. That's why he's here, pretty much. Going to be a mix of guys who are actually rushing the passer, but they kind of don't really have a true number one edge threat. So
edge rushers, I will say they haven't been the best, or they haven't been that good throughout their career, but they have showed promise and that they're kind of close to being pretty good, making more plays than they actually do. So maybe within this Brian Flores system, they'll be able to flourish,
Yeah, I think that Lawson for sure, both of them to some extent, are better as run defenders from the edge position than pass rush. So they're going to be, this team is probably going to be really fundamentally sound. I just think sometimes when they go up against like a solid O-line group, they're going to have problems getting pressure.
Yeah. So let's talk about their other linebackers. Rayquan Mcmillan, Jerome Baker, Kyle Van Noy.
Yeah.
The first three guys, McMillan, Baker, and Kyle Van Noy, are actually pretty good. Kyle Van Noy is just like one of the best utility guys in the league. Like, he's not great at anything, but he can do everything.
Yeah.
I think he'll fit well in this system.
McMillan and Baker is a good duo. Yeah. Baker is more of like a coverage player than McMillan, who's a thumper in the middle. So they play well off of each other. And then they also have a Landon Roberts, Patriots, of course.
Yeah.
Going to come in, just kind of do what he did for the Patriots, basically, be the fourth linebacker. And then, they have Grusher Hill, Van Ginkel, and Vince Beagle. So some great names on this team. But, a lot of solid players in the linebacker room.
Let's move on to DB's secondary. I would say this secondary is actually pretty good.
Really good.
They're top tier for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So they have Byron Jones and Xavier Howard on the outside, starting corners. Both guys that can lock down players, but don't necessarily get the stats that other players do. They don't get a ton of picks, but they do lock down players. So if you look at their stats and you're like, these guys sucks, they actually don't. They're amazing. And then they have Eric Rowe and Bobby McCain for the safeties. They're pretty good. They're not great, but they're all right. I mean, you're fine with them being your starting safeties.
Yeah.
And then they also got Noah Igbenogany.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, he's probably going to be their corner, so a first-round pick as your third corner.
Slot corner, yeah.
Slot corner. That's pretty good. You're happy about that.
Yes.
Know? As long as he's good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 5'9", so he's kind of, that's going to be where he is, unless they, like, throw him at safety or whatever.
Like free safety.
Yeah. Yeah, the cornerback room is really good. They even have, like, Nick Needham and Tay Hayes.
Yeah.
Who are... have been around the block a couple of times. And then, converted corners in Bobby McCain and Eric Rowe playing the safety spots. So coverage should not be a problem. And then they've got depth. They've got Clayton Fetchdelum, if that's how you say that. And then Kayvon Frazier and Stephen Parker, who played some for them last year, started a little bit.
So let's talk about where they are right now. I actually think they have the ability to make the playoffs, but they're still in a rebuild, you know. Their defense, if they play to their potential, which I don't know if they will, if they play to their potential, the defense should be good. Their offense is still kind of...
remains to be seen.
Yeah, especially the O-line. I think their O-line is going to be a big liability, and it's hard to protect anybody and win games, you know. What about you? How do you feel about their position right now in the league?
I think they have some things to look forward to finally. Mm-hmm. Like, they have a direction.
Yeah.
Try to protect Tua. And I think Flores is actually like a solid building block, at least at this point.
Yeah.
Seems to be getting things done. Everybody seems to be believing in him. He said all the right things. Turned the team that was like, were they like 0-8 or something? They were winless for a while.
Yeah, they were.
And so, kind of turned them around. Had a good second half of the season. So you can look forward to that, but at the same time, priority A needs to be protecting Tua in the future.
Last thing to kind of be worried about, it's going to suck if these free agents don't sign off because you paid a lot of guys a lot of money, especially Kyle Van Noy. He's been in the Patriots system, so I don't know if he was a product of that or if he's actually that good. He's also 29, so, I mean, kind of same thing with Byron Jones. I don't know if he was a product of the Cowboys system and their, good defense that they had last year. I think it's going to be a big year for them to see what direction their team is going to be. If they do go like 3 wins, it's going to be real sad. But if they go 6 wins, 6, 7, I think it's going to be a good season for them, especially with their O-line not being able to protect anybody.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and then share your record predictions, what you think of the team down below. Follow us on all social media platforms, and listen to us on podcasts and Spotify. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.